Hey everyone, welcome back to my devlog series for my adventure exploration game inspired by N64 and PS1 games. Last time, we did a bunch of stuff, including polishing up that area at the beginning with the crash site. We added gliding, we added a new creature, our first creature. Lots of things. Go back and check out Devlog 7 if you didn't already. I'm actually recording this devlog the same day Devlog 7 releases. I'm a little behind on things because of a lot of games coming out. It's been a busy period of time where I'm usually working on the game, but instead I've been playing games. But a lot of really inspiring ideas have come out of that. Talking about inspiring ideas, in Devlog 6, 7 even, you guys left some amazing comments of some ideas. And I want to do this every now and again. I want to pick out a few comments and actually implement the ideas because I like them that much. So the first part of this devlog is going to be that. And then we're going to transition over and actually put another creature in the game. So the first thing I want to address in this devlog is a comment I had on Devlog 5 about the approach to the game design and the level design for teaching people how to use shards. It was something I hadn't thought about before. So before, if you remember, this is the crash site. It looks a little weird in Blender. We'll go in game and walk through it soon. This is where you climb up. And this is where we were with the hopper in the last devlog. Then the flower is over here. And this is where the doorway was out into the main world. And I asked you all about, the portal and how, I should design that and how we should go about using the particles and stuff. But I've added this new area here. And what this is going to do is it's going to teach you to go out of your way to find a key or I'm referring to them as almost like mini shards right now, but I'm going to come up with a better idea for that. And what that will do is we'll use it in some puzzles in the overworld and it will unlock these little alien relics. So if I even did this, you'll see the green here means that you need to put a key in here and then it will open this door. Right now I haven't got a door here because I just haven't designed one. I don't want it to be the same as the dungeon. So right now I've just grabbed a bunch of the dungeon assets. But I actually quite like this idea of using this sort of dungeon relic idea, the same as the main dungeon over here. Similar aesthetic as this, to cordon off these other areas. And what that will mean is that it gives a little bit more reason as well as to why you can't use your boost jets or your glide in these subzones. And then as soon as you go through these gates, that you kind of like go through the restriction barrier and you're allowed out here. It also means that black barrier with the particles I talked about last time has a little bit more meaning to it. It isn't just some sort of portal in the middle of some pink coral. It now has more of an in-world thing. And we can put more of these alien ruins around the planet. I kind of want to go light touch on this first planet and then maybe have more on future planets. Anyway, I hope that all makes sense. I kind of went off on a tangent there. But the key is going to be like a little mini version of one of the shards. So then the player knows they have to collect things to open doors. And then when we're out in the main open world out here, the first time you find a shard, we'll have a little bit of dialogue as well, connecting it back to this, being like, oh, remember this happened with this thing, and this has like a pull or some sort of connection to the big alien structure they saw. And then that will mean, give players a little bit of agency to be like, oh, I can, add one and one together here. And it means that now I have these shards, I can go open the big door over here. And they might go out of their way to come and visit this dungeon. And if they do, it'll say you need to get 15. Or maybe they'll just go around collecting them. And yeah, I mean, this world is all super block out, but you'll also remember in Devlog 6, I showed a map kind of how it's going to look. I can now segment these areas off a little bit more and have more intricate puzzles and stuff thanks to being able to control where you are boosting and gliding and stuff. So I hope you like that idea. My idea for this area is that the actual key to unlock this is going to be up here on this sort of upper platform. And to get there, what I'm planning is you'll come down here and then you'll kind of hop across here and fall kind of onto this wall. So I might tweak the distance a little bit here and climb up this wall, and then you'll be able to get the little key shard thing there as well. Hopefully that all makes sense and you all like this idea. I'm really happy about it. I think going to this sort of design more than the coral entranceways that we were doing last time, I think makes a lot more sense. Obviously, this is super rough right now. I've got like faces still existing outside of the map and stuff. I will tidy that up a lot more. But I just wanted to see how it all fits together and how it feels. So I'm going to throw it in Engine and have a run around and see how it feels. Hopefully I like it. And then I'll move on to another really good comment that someone had. This is the main goal for this devlog is I want to go back through some comments from mostly Devlog 6 because people had some really great ideas and pick out a few favorites and then implement those things before we move on to adding a new creature. Another one later in this devlog. So I thought this would be fun to show. I'm going to import the new level. I'm going to change everything up and then I'm probably going to hide it and move all the scenery and stuff over. And do this. This will now be shifted, all the way over here. See, that's how far it's moved. Because now we have this new area, which has now got all the old scenery in it. But I think these look way cool. It's almost in the exact same position. And we'll do something a little bit different with the particles, definitely. Maybe I can get them to go in this sort of diamond shape, actually. That might be cool. Okay, and here we are. We are in. I've managed to move all of the scenery pieces, all of the meshes, the effects and everything across. So it should be good. There might be a few things in the wrong place or a little bit buggy until I kind of run through this a few more times and test it. And yeah, I will be increasing the climbing speed. Don't worry, it is way too slow right now. Oh look, the Hopper's up here. Hello, Hopper. My nemesis. Alright, he's dead. He's gone. I actually forgot what all of my controls were because in my head I've just got the Jedi Survivor controls. Although I think, if I'm right, this devlog is actually going to release on... Is it going to release on May 12th? Which is the same day as Tears of the Kingdom? Maybe. Maybe if it is, that's what I'll be playing right now. So there's a few little bits and pieces missing over there, but you can see the new area now. I haven't put any scenery in yet. I'll keep working on it as the devlog goes on. But you can see here, we've got these new ledges, so if you wanted to, you could come over here and climb up them. So there's always a way to come back. And we might be able to tweak this a little bit here, but we can now jump onto here and climb up this wall. Again, we'll put the yellow flowers on and everything and tweak the climbing speed in the future. But up here, this is where you'll find your first key, or whatever we end up calling it. Down here, there is some more climbable sections. Carry on teaching you about ledge climbing. And then over here, you've got 3 more. Down here, there's a few other places. There's this. Not quite sure what's going on with the wall in here. It's an interesting lighting bug. But this is probably going to have a collectible in it, or an enemy kind of just hanging out in here, something like that. But yeah, you can see how it all feels now. If you really wanted to walk through here, you could. Little narrow crevice. And that'll take you back over there. Which feels nice. I think, yeah, the flow in here works really well. And of course, you can get the key, and then it'll unlock a doorway here. And then you'll be able to step through. And we're out into the world. And as you can see, there's no more UV errors all over the map. It is now correctly UV mapped, or at least it's got a basic UV map on it, so you can see this grid, this grey grid over the whole map, which gives it a little bit more distinction than just the flat white or the streaks of white in there. Here's how it looks from out here. We can still boost around and everything, of course. This is all still in the game, but I will eventually limit it so that once you go in here, maybe we'll add like a green line or something, that as you go through here, it restricts the ability to glide and the ability to use those boosts. But right now we can boost around in here if we really want to. But I like the idea of having these as more like traditional adventure areas, and then this big open world is this big, fast traversal area. I think that's really cool. But yeah, there's lots of different things in here, and I think having the repetition in here now, so, you know, people will have to learn how to use all these different climbing mechanics and things like that. Even this mechanic, by the way, I'm going to speed up the time it takes to climb here as well. That'll all be sped up. But yeah, overall, really, really happy with this. I think it works really, really well. And it's a nice little area, so I'll keep polishing it up. I'll maybe show it later in the devlog. But there's a ton of other things I want to get to. So, last time this happened, where he didn't come to attack me anymore. This is because I've hit him. And right now I've just disabled it so that once he's in a damaged state... I should have explained this at the end of the last devlog, actually. Once he's in this damaged state, he doesn't do anything else. But what I'll do is I'll just make him, like, get stunned for, like, half a second, if that. And then turn and start attacking the player again. But yeah, right now, he just stays stunned in the damage state, but it's just because testing it helps me with testing and stuff. And also, if you think about it, if you imagine this as a miniature version of the actual world, this whole world out here, this over here would be the dungeon, the alien temple, whatever you want to call it, and this is like, you know, the open world, but it's now scaled down so small to just teach you the basic mechanics before you're out in the big open world. I think that's a really great little mechanic, so thank you again for that suggestion. And, you know, there was so many great comments on Devlog 6 that just picking the ones I really want to implement and use is tricky, but we'll move on to another one. Okay, here we are back in the prototype area where we first started building out the game. There's actually some hoppers living here now, so got to be careful of them. But if we boost past here, ignoring the hoppers, I want to talk about water. We've talked about this in previous devlogs about how the water isn't the greatest thing. I'm actually going to rework it in this section, but I got this comment on the last video about, I said the last video, Devlog 6 specifically, where they mentioned that we should be able to boost along the top of the water until our energy runs out, and then we should, you know, dip in. Now, I have a lot of bugs with my current implementation of the water system. It's not great. It kind of works here. Okay, that seemed pretty fine. I could probably get it to bug out okay. Well, that didn't take long. Now we're just in this sort of mode, and now I have to press a button to change it. There's some weird things. Sometimes they happen, and sometimes they don't. See, now it's fine. I haven't pressed any buttons, but yeah. There's another thing that happens. If I can't get it to happen now, I'll have to show a clip. But it will just push you underwater at random times and just lock you in there. So I think I'm going to rebuild the water blueprint system. My plan is instead to lock the player to like an invisible collision plane and just set them to the swimming animation. And then that's how it'll function, because I don't want diving in the game, but I do want water. But a thing that's been happening is I've been thinking about how I'm going to build the world, and I've been avoiding adding water into my concepts because of how many bugs I've been having with this water here. So I think to stop that, really, and fix the water system, I'm going to make it really simple. And yeah, you'll just sort of like swim around on like an invisible plane here, and the camera you won't ever be able to be like pushed under the water. You'll just stay at a height, and then you can climb out, and it should fix a lot of bugs. And it detects that the character is boosting, then we'll stay on top of it, and you'll just be able to boost along the top of the water and not fall in like that. So what I think I'm going to do in this devlog, instead of showing all the blueprints and me working and trying to figure this out, I'm just going to pop into the engine at different points and give you guys an update. So right here you can see now I've got this little test area for some water, and if I fall into it, you can see I now swim, but I'm too far under the water. But I've already got this working super quickly, and it works really well. You get out and you're back walking normally. The blue pings, by the way, that you see me drawing right now, they are just for so I can see if I'm on ground, but they actually turn orange if you look. They almost look red under the water. It's kind of hard to see. And that's just so that we go to this point and we can swim around. But we need to make sure the player is a little higher up for this new one. And this should cause like way less bugs, he says as he tries to swim into a wall, and it is a climbing. Will I climb into this wall? That's weird. Oh, in the down, I can't press down because it already triggers the water thing. There are some things I've already built that I'm going to keep. But why won't it let me climb up this wall? That's weird. I wonder if I didn't put climbable on. Because yeah, it's working on this one. Anyway, progress good. I'll update you with some more very soon. Okay, another quick little update. So now when you enter the water, you stick to this point, this plane, that it knows that is water, and then you can climb out. You can hop back in. That's another thing I need to fix, by the way, and I'm not sure how to fix it, is if you run towards the camera, you don't jump, you just get turned around. But it's a totally different topic, it's not swimming. So swimming all works really well now, it's really good to control. And then we also have boosting, which now works like that. And if we want to go back, we can go back over it. It works great. Really happy with that. You can boost to your heart's content over water now. And if you don't want to boost, or if you're in an area that can't be boosted in, like a restricted area where boosting doesn't work, you can still jump across the water and do all of that. So the only thing I have to fix now is making the plunge in animation play that I had before on the old setup. Everything else is great. It's just right now you hop down and then just float. But it feels way better to control swimming now. It feels more like walking rather than the swimming mechanics, which felt, for this type of game, felt really weird. If I'm totally honest, they felt really not great. Okay, we're back. Let me show you how we're looking. So now we jump in, we plop down, and we can swim around, and we can turn the camera back, and we can climb out. You'd be surprised how long that took. It's primarily getting this plop in animation to work without like moving the character at the same time. You'd think a simple disable input would work, but it was not having any of it. But there we go. You plop in and then you can swim around after that animation completes. You can climb up somewhere. And there we go. So if we boost it across here, then let go, we plop in, and we'd have to swim back out to be able to boost again. Again, if we boost, we drop in. Now if I try to boost while I'm in here, it doesn't work. See, I'm holding down the boost key. Also, if I'm on here, I can't boost or anything, I can only climb up. There is no way to drop down either. Once you're in water, you can only climb out. So that works nicely. Sweet. And in the grand scheme of things, it didn't take me too long to implement, but I wanted to be very specific and not just kind of do a bodge job or like a quick patch job over the swimming system. I wanted to rebuild the whole thing to get it somewhere where I was really happy, and I am super, super happy with this. So yeah, there we go. So for this section, let me talk about boosting a little bit. You'll see now we have a few new animations while boosting. They're kind of transitionary animations for when you rotate, because now you have a slow rotation rate while boosting. You're not snapping in any direction like this. You're kind of gliding around, and it does feel a lot better when you play and you make snap movements. It's not as weird as it was before. Also, this means that if for whatever reason the player is locked on like this, or even just free lock like this where you just lock to an axis, you actually have animations for that, which look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. There is one huge bug that's come up because of this, which I need to look into, which is if you boost off a surface now, this happens. I'm not holding anything there. But if, for example, now I boost off a surface on keyboard and mouse, you see how it controlled the camera? So it's A and D, so it's the left and right axis being controlled, even though normally in the game they control movement. So I just need to lock that down in the boosting system, and we should be good. Okay, and here we are. Here's how the boost looks now. Pretty happy with that. And when you're falling, you get locked into the direction, the camera gets locked into the direction the player is moving, which is perfect. But all other times, you can actually rotate around and do what you want. I actually think it feels a little slow now, boosting, but hey, maybe that's just me. Maybe we can update that and upgrade that over time. But I think the actual animations now are great. You see them, you only see them like when they're turning, like when you make like a swift turn, and I might update that speed and the dampening between the animations, because I think that looks really cool, like when you're doing this sort of stuff, when just a turn. I think that looks really, really cool. I haven't shown any comment or anything like that, and this section's all about implementing some cool comments from you guys. Well, take a look at this comment, which is about adding tricks to the game. So I'm going to keep tweaking the boosting system, but I'm also going to add a way for you to regen energy when you go over a ramp or you're in the air. You can tap a button and you'll do a trick or a spin or something. Well, that was really easy to implement. Let me just show you how the boosting system is looking now. I've tweaked a few more settings. I'm pretty happy with it. But if I come off here and now I press Y on the keyboard, you'll see I did a little jump animation. And if you noticed as well in the top left corner, I actually gained a little bit of energy back while still boosting. So if we come over here and we waste a little bit of boost, like we've been boosting around for a bit, and then we come over here and we press Y, we do a little jump animation just as a temporary thing, and you saw we got a little bit of energy back. Now, if I come over here and I try spamming the Y button, it only gives us it once until we've landed. So you can only do one trick currently. When I'm falling and boosting now and I do a little thing, you'll see I got a way bigger chunk of energy there, but it went above the maximum amount of energy that I can have. So if I keep boosting here and then I jump over here and I press this, you see it's gone up and above the max energy. So I just need to fix that as well. And that's a pretty easy fix too. So now you see whenever it boosts up, fills the bar up, the stamina bar, the energy bar up. For example, I've got quite a lot of energy here, but if I do this, you see it starts ticking back away instantly again. And I did that on a full. But that was pretty easy to implement. That was, yeah, pretty easy. Maybe we animate that a little bit and just have a temp little trick animation there so it actually looks a little bit more visually interesting. Okay, and now we have this. A little topple tail, a little front roll. I might speed it up a little bit actually, but... And we're going to hit the ramp. Let's see how this looks. Nice, that was cool. Yeah, that worked really well. Alright, here we go again. Let's see how that looks. A little bit of a speed up. I think you snap out of it a little bit too quick at the end. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Let's build a little section with a bunch of ramps and see how it looks. Right, let's see how this looks. Obviously, I'm going to tweak the amount of energy it gives you. But there we go. And now imagine that being different spins and flips, and you know, it does a different one every time. I can implement a combo system with that pretty easily, so that every time, well, actually, it wouldn't be a combo system, it would just be a random picker, and it would just pick a random animation to play every time. That works pretty great. I'm pretty happy with that, so thank you again for that suggestion. That was a really quick little implementation. There's just one more thing that I want to talk about before we move on to adding in another brand new creature to the world. So before I even showed this off the glider and everything in last week's devlog, there was actually a comment back in Devlog 6 about adding a glider. I'd already implemented it. As you can see, I'd already recorded all of that. But their idea was actually a little bit more unique, and I instead of implementing it, I kind of want to pitch it to you all, and you can decide. So their idea was actually having something more like membrane between the arms. So that reminded me a little bit of Spider-Man, especially in the newer Tom Holland movies where he's kind of got the web wings and stuff like that. So I wonder if something like that could work, but does that really work like a glider? Because then you're not, all you do is then just be hovering in the air. Anyway, I kind of liked the idea. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. So I thought, see how it goes. And yeah, I just thought I'd let you all have a look and see what you think. I'm more than happy to implement this if you think it'll work better. One of my main problems though is going to be how do you transition from a jump or a fall into this, which is a very flat position, versus this, which is the current glider, is pretty much, you know, a vertical thing, and you can transition from a jump into this very easily, while an actual, almost like a wingsuit where your arms are spread out, is a much harder thing to transition into, and it doesn't really visually look as strong in terms of a gliding thing. I'm more than happy to redesign the glider if people want something different for that, or, you know, maybe there's another implementation with the membrane idea, but I want to leave that with you all, and I want to see what your comments are after this video and see where you go with that. But yeah, that's it for this section of the devlog where I wanted to grab some of the comments and ideas and implement them to the game. In the future, I'll do this every other devlog or every few devlogs. I'll just grab a few comments up, save them up, and then do a little section in devlog where I go through and pick my favorites and show them to you all and implement them in the game, because you've always all got such great ideas in the comments. Some of them would work for the game, some of them just wouldn't work for the game at all. So thank you all again for your comments. I really do appreciate them. I think it's time we add another creature to our game. So just like in the last devlog, I want to build another creature for the planet. This is going to be a stationary creature, which means it won't roam around or anything, but it will attack you if you get close to it. I'm going to call this the Burrower. So last time we met the Hopper, who hops around and attacks you, kind of rams into you, headbutts you, bites you. This guy is more of a full mouth snapper, let's say, inspired by the sandworms from Dune, or even something like the actual parasite form of a Goa'uld from Stargate. They're kind of got like weird fish-like mouths. So I kind of use those as inspiration. But this thing isn't that big. It's once it actually you see it animated, it's kind of hunched over as it kind of worms out of its hole. And it's not, you know, it's probably no taller than the main character really. It's slightly bigger maybe than the Hopper, but the Hopper may change size as well. You know, these things aren't final yet, but I do kind of like the size of the Hopper. I didn't want it to be some big creature. This is slightly bigger, but Again, it doesn't follow you, it just stays in one spot and attacks if you get close, so a little bit of a different AI approach. And here you can see it in its closed mouth state. This is kind of how it'll look once it comes out of its hole. And you can see the mouth will open up, it'll extend a tongue. I don't know if I want the tongue to be the thing that attacks you yet, or if like the whole body kind of grabs you, or it just slams its head into the ground. Either or. Here I was just using a few textures from the hopper actually, just so I could kind of figure out where the textures would break and, you know, getting those different separations in. This is the first time I just started to get the rig working as well. So all the arms are individually rigged. The mouth is kind of a mess at the moment. I do a bunch of weight painting, there we go, between this and the next clip, so just that the teeth kind of go with the correct parts of the mouth. But overall, pretty happy with this. The rig was fairly easy as well, considering how strange it looks. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with it, even the crazy rotations there. And here we go. This is the final finished model. Again, right here is untextured, and this is its emergence animation. So the main goal for this will be to kind of block your way or teach you, you know, simple combat mechanics on a stationary enemy. And I think if the closest thing you can think of is if you think of Zelda and the Deku Babas, which are these plant-like things that snap at you. This is kind of a similar enemy to that, although, again, this is evolved from a fish of some sort or some sort of aquatic creature that lives underwater, and here is its final animation and its final texture work. You can see it has got fins or some sort of flippers on the side of its head still, but it doesn't use them. The kind of evolution's got rid of them pretty much at this point. It's almost dragon-like at the same time as well, which is pretty cool and kind of creepy with all those arms. You know, having 6 arms and never really using them is a pretty weird thing to do. I clipped under the ground plane there, but there we go. Hopefully you all like this guy. He's pretty weird, he's pretty unusual, you know, a lot more alien, I would say. And this is something that maybe we wouldn't even imagine on Earth, but overall, really, really happy with this guy, and I think he's a really cool little creature. This is how he'll look just kind of in his standby state. When you're walking around the planet, you'll see this sort of like little pyramid thing sticking up, and you can see all of his body and his rig just stays under the ground. And then if I hide the rocks that he emerges from and I hide the ground plane, you can see this is how the animation looks from the side there. Turned out pretty good. I have to do a bunch more animations for him to get him ready to go in game, but I thought I'd just showcase him like this. And then, yeah, start working on putting him in the engine, because I think that's the real important thing to do now. Okay, everyone, we're going to take a little walkthrough of the level now. You may be wondering, oh, where's the Burrower? We were just looking at the Burrower. Well, don't worry. You're going to see him in action in this level. I felt like we went through quite a lot of the implementing a creature process last time, so I thought this time I'll just show you how it looks and how it works and everything. But there's a few tweaks to the climbing speed there, as you'll see, and also this one is very fast now. It looks like I've sped up the footage. I haven't. I've just sped that up for dev processor. Later in the development of the game, I will tweak the values of that a little bit and actually animate it properly at that speed. But here's our first guy, our hopper. He's going to come and attack us now, as you can see. So if we give this guy a little hit, he's going to die. And you see that he kept attacking me after that initial hit now. That was a little bug from last week, which is now fixed. So we can now go up here. And if we head over the bridge, you're going to spot a Burrower. There it is. We're going to lock onto it. And if we get a little close, it's going to attack. And you see, it's got quite a range on it, actually. So if look at that, that's doing damage from quite far. I haven't quite finished tweaking the textures on it, so the tongue is actually technically a material that's only one-sided right now, but don't worry about that. If you look at it from this direction, you can see the tongue, and that one didn't quite reach me. It's trying to get me. If I stand a little closer, that's definitely got me. So I'm going to have to attack it now, or it's going to kill me. It's got me. It killed me. Yeah, so they're burrowers. They're in, and as you can see, if I head off, it'll head back into his little hole. Kind of pops out too quickly sometimes. But sometimes he works just fine. Again, I'm just still working on it, but really, really happy with that for this episode. You can see there's now a hopper down here, patrolling the area of this new zone. Oh, let me sheath the sword. Another burrower up here, hanging out. And we can hop down here. You can see there's a lot of changes from the beginning of the episode. We can now jump over here. We can climb this wall. And this is where we'll find our first key that we talked about earlier in the episode to unlock the door down there. And if we head down here, You can see there's this path back, and there's another Burrower over there guarding the way. I mean, our player would be dead right now. This Burrower is paying us no attention. This Hopper, I mean. But I can attack him. And that's made him now realize I'm here. He's going to come and get me, but I'm already dead. Not a lot you can do. And in here, there is a couple of Burrowers hanging out in here as well. They're going to attack us. That'll be a pretty difficult fight. But yeah, really good progress. Again, I'll keep tweaking that AI, the speed at which they can attack as well. So like how often they can attack. Right now, the Burrower can attack, I think, once every second or so. But the Hopper actually has no limit on how often it can attack. So I do need to work on that. And if we head up here, you'll see another one just hanging out here. I might tweak some of the ranges of the detection as well. But I also wanted to talk about this. Here is our gateway into the main world. It's not a portal. It kind of looks like a portal, but I really like this effect that's looking right now. I think it looks really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. Very, very cool. There will be a door here that you'll need to plug the key in here, and then the door will go away, and then you'll be able to walk through. But not all of these gateways will have doors on them. Some of them will just look like this normally. So yeah, this is obviously what we're going to be working on next, but I've had a few ideas that I want to run past you all now at the end of this devlog. First off is this area when you first come out of here. I think I'm going to have all this stuff on the left and forward still being raised up. So you won't have this path over here. This will be raised up, and if you came off here and you fell off and you boosted off here, you would die. You wouldn't have access to boost yet, and you wouldn't have access to glide yet. But what I'm thinking of is over here, we have like a secondary crash site, like a little extra pod, equipment pod that's crashed down. That will give you your boost abilities, and it will give you your gliding abilities. And it will also introduce you to the first shard, the first sort of, dungeon shard. But I've had an idea about those as well. I've talked about them in previous devlogs, how I want them to be like these keys that you collect and then you take to the main dungeon. I've had a thought. What if instead of them being keys, they're actually things you activate, and they activate a beam that shoots through the level and beams itself all the way over to the dungeon over there. Like a big green beam goes over there and hits it. And obviously 15 of those is going to look pretty normal. And what could happen is when you see 15 of those, something rises out of the ground, and that triggers the door to open. But then if you go out of your way to collect all 30, that thing that rose out of the ground originally rises out of the ground again a second time to unveil like a treasure chest or something underneath. And that's where you could get your unique piece of cosmetic for the character, is by collecting that. Again, that's an optional thing. So if you want to just get the 15 of the beacons, dungeon shards, whatever we want to call them, that beam to the dungeon and then unlock the door. And the very first time you get one, possibly the one up here, I'll do a script in it where it will show a cutscene, and that cutscene will show all of that happening, and then the player instantly knows that activating these things creates this over there. And then if you went over to the dungeon and you, for whatever reason, thought, oh, I could go in now, it would still show up a prompt that said, you need to activate 14 more or 10 more or however more you have left. Is that a cooler idea than going around and collecting keys, like actually activating alien relics that then open a massive dungeon? Let me know your thoughts. I think it might be stronger, and it means that, I talked about it earlier, but you still have this setup in here for the key, and you can still use the key to unlock these doors, and we can still implement keys into puzzles. That's still a thing that can be done. Let me show you what happens with the Hopper now. So you see he's attacking me. If I go and attack him, he doesn't get stunned anymore like he did last episode. He just kind of stops for a little bit, and then I can kill him. And I don't think Burrowers have a death state yet, which is why when I attack them, they can just keep attacking me. Yeah, they just don't have a dead state yet, which is fine. That's something I can really easily implement anyway, so... But that's the devlog for this week. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it. I'm putting the finishing touches on this on the Saturday. So like a week before it comes out, 6 days before I release it, which is pretty late for me. I'm usually further ahead with devlogs, but it has been busy with Jedi Survivor, work, and also the eve, you could say, of of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out so soon. And when this devlog releases, Tears of the Kingdom will be out. So I'm going to try to get a start on Devlog 9 as well. But thank you all so much for watching. Last week, I also talked about how I've unlocked channel membership and super thanks. I just want to thank everyone who used those. I'm hugely grateful to all of you who used super thanks and supported the game. If you want to become a channel member, which is like a monthly subscription cost, your names will be featured at the end of devlogs in the future, and you get a little icon next to your name. But of course, totally optional, not something I'm forcing anyone to do. If you want to support the game in any way, that's the easiest way to do it currently. But if you did like these devlogs, please subscribe to the channel. That is free, and of course you can like the video and leave comments below. I love reading all your comments and responding. I have great conversations with many of you pretty much every week when the videos come out, so thank you so much. And yeah, I will be back next week with another one most likely, and then we'll be after that heading into the territory of double digits in devlogs, which is crazy. I know a lot of people had questions about the HUD that I showed last time, and also my current implementation of it in the top left corner, which is temporary, but don't worry about that. The HUD and everything like that is, that'll all change and evolve. I have a few ideas I'll show in a future devlog, but don't worry about that for now. I just thank everyone for their comments, and yeah, I'll see you all next week. I look forward to chatting to you down below. Have a good week, everyone. Goodbye. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the after party of the devlog. Thanks for sticking around after the fade out. I just want to show everyone the Burrower a little bit closer up. Here he is. I'm sure some people thought he was actually going to be much larger, right? He's not. He's a little fella. Little rockworm, really, is kind of the goal for this guy. But he can see the actual texture work and everything closer up on him and how he looks. He's got his own little rock patch at the bottom. Yeah, he just chills out here. And if I go back to playing as the character here, and I click into the window, you can see I can lock onto him and get a good look at him there. He's pretty angry, and yeah, if I get close, that tongue is going to go straight through me and do some damage. But if I wander away, he's going to hide back in his little hole. And I can go back close again. He'll follow me around, try to attack me if I get too close. He's very protective of his little hidey hole. So you can now see that tongue in action as well when he tries to reach out and attack me. He doesn't quite reach me here. He's just kind of warning me off. But if I get a little too close, it's going to do some damage. It's going to look cool with all like the hit reactions and flashing materials when you take damage and stuff like that. It's going to be great. Alright, I'll leave you alone, okay? Just like I'm going to leave this devlog alone now. See you all next time.